When people think about the fall of Rome, they often imagine barbarians storming the gates, legions collapsing, or emperors being assassinated in marble palaces. But empires do not crumble solely from external attacks, they rot from within. And one of the most destructive forces has always been money. Rome did not collapse only because of invasions or political corruption. Its currency failed, and the lessons from that failure are still relevant to every modern economy that believes it can manipulate money without consequences. For centuries, Rome relied on the silver denarius. First minted around 211 years before Christ, it was nearly pure silver and trusted across the empire. Soldiers were paid with it, merchants demanded it, and ordinary citizens stored their wealth in it. The denarius was not just money. It was confidence in tangible form. The strength of the empire and the value of the coin were inseparable. Running an empire is expensive. Maintaining legions, building roads and aqueducts, and funding wars all required vast sums of money. By the 2nd century after Christ, Rome was stretched thin, defending its borders against Germanic tribes, Parthians in the east, and unrest within its cities. Tax revenues could not keep pace, so emperors turned to a familiar tactic: debasement. Instead of raising taxes, they reduced the silver content of the denarius. Under Emperor Augustus, the denarius contained about 95% silver. By the time of Emperor Caracalla, it had fallen to roughly 50%. By the mid-3rd century, under Emperor Gallienus, the coin contained less than 5% silver. A once solid coin had become almost worthless. Inflation followed. Prices rose rapidly. Soldiers demanded higher pay. Merchants refused debased coins and returned to barter. Local economies broke down. The more confidence in the currency eroded, the more emperors issued cheaper coins, hoping that issuing more would replace real value. It became a vicious cycle, one repeated throughout history. The crisis reached its peak during the crisis of the 3rd century, from the years 235 to 284 after Christ. Rome endured nearly 50 years of invasions, plagues, civil wars, and economic breakdown. Emperors came and went in rapid succession, sometimes reigning for only a few months. Taxes were demanded in coins losing value by the day, farmers abandoned their lands, and trade networks fractured. The government attempted desperate measures, including price controls and forced labor obligations, but nothing worked. Emperor Diocletian tried to stop the collapse. In the year 301 after Christ, he issued the Edict on Maximum Prices, fixing the cost of over 1,000 goods and services. Violators faced death. It was a disaster. Money was worthless. Prices ignored the decree. Black markets flourished, and trade almost completely stopped. The law could not make a broken coin whole. Eventually, Rome abandoned the denarius. Emperor Constantine the Great introduced the solidus, a gold coin of stable purity, around the year 312 after Christ. It restored some economic stability and lasted for centuries in the Eastern Roman or Byzantine Empire. But by that time, the Western Empire was already critically weakened. Debasement had hollowed out the empire's economic core. Armies could no longer be maintained, trade networks were broken, and trust had vanished. The lesson is clear. When money fails, society fails. Rome believed it could trick the people with coins that looked the same but contained less real value. Modern governments sometimes think they can do the same with paper, money, debt, or inflation. But history repeats itself. Citizens pay the price, wealth is destroyed, and trust collapses. The same pattern repeated in Weimar Germany after the First World War and in Zimbabwe in the early 2000s. People lost their savings while those who held real assets, such as land, factories, or foreign currency, remained secure. Even in modern developed economies, the same risks exist. In 1971, the United States left the gold standard, severing the link between currency and tangible value. The dollar became a fiat currency, backed only by trust in the government. Over the decades, debt and the money supply expanded, and purchasing power eroded. A dollar in 1971 could buy what now requires more than $6. The bills look the same, but their value has been hollowed out. The pattern is always similar. Governments present inflation as growth, debt as investment, and rising markets as proof of prosperity. Meanwhile, Ordinary people lose value in every paycheck, every coin, and every bank account. Rome shows that financial collapse does not occur suddenly. It creeps in, erodes trust, and unravels society. When money stops being real, contracts fail, trade breaks down, armies dissolve, and governments lose legitimacy. Barbarians may finish the job, but the real danger is always inside the treasury. Here is what individuals should take away from Rome's currency crisis. First, inflation is deliberate policy. It is a silent tax on the people. Second, real wealth is found in assets that retain value when money does not, such as land, skills, productive businesses, and resources. Third, stability is never guaranteed. Rome's fall was not only about bad emperors or greedy elites, it was a warning about the fragility of money when mismanaged by those in power. History does not repeat exactly, but it often rhymes. Understanding these lessons helps us protect wealth, sharpen financial insight, and prepare for future crises.